One of the fun things about reviewing movies is every now and again you'll get a really bad movie and you kind of just get to tear it to shreds, and I kind of love doing that. There's some sort of like sinister catharsis in doing that, and Axel F, the newest Beverly Hills Cop movie distributed by Netflix, was gonna be my next victim. This movie was on death row. I was the executioner. I was ready to flip that switch and just eviscerate it. But to my surprise, the movie is actually pretty okay. It's a pretty serviceable action comedy, and who saw that coming? So Eddie Murphy is back as Axel Foley. He heads back to Beverly Hills because his estranged daughter, who is now a lawyer, takes on a client who's been framed by a bunch of dirty cops, led by the ringleader, Kevin Bacon, Footloose Man himself. And they are going to work together and figure out their relationship to stop the evil corrupt cops. So yeah, I mean, this movie is actually kind of fun in moments. You know, I wouldn't say the whole thing is fun, but there are moments in this movie where I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. This does feel like an 80s action comedy, a throwback action comedy. Whether it's, you know, Eddie Murphy, Axel Foley driving through Detroit in a snowplow causing destruction while an 80s banger track is booming through the speakers. There's something kind of like fun about all that. And this movie has a lot of those scenes. And I was kind of worried about Eddie Murphy coming back. Not that he's like the worst actor in the world, but he's kind of getting old. And sometimes when like these older actors come back to do a role that they did like 50 years ago, you know, when studios take all these older actors out of their retirement home and blow the dust off of their face and say, do that song and dance you did 50 years ago, you know, dance monkey. It kind of becomes sad sometimes, you know, like seeing Bill Murray as Venkman. It's just like stuff like that just makes me kind of feel sad. And I was worried that, you know, Eddie Murphy coming back as Axel Foley, doing his Axel Foley, you know, shtick was gonna just be like, oh, this is not going well. But, you know, to my surprise, it actually was solid. Like it didn't feel sad. It was really funny. He put that Detroit Lions jacket back on, fit back in the shoes of Axel Foley, and it actually works. And it's kind of funny. Like the movie treats Axel Foley's kind of superpower, if you want to call it that, which is that he has this ability to talk himself out of situations, and the movie kind of treats those scenes like they're action scenes or something. Like that's why we're all here. It's almost like a John Wick movie when, you know, a bunch of guys are surrounding John Wick. You're like, oh shit, here we go. John Wick's about to pop off. You know, that's kind of how this feels like in this movie, where it's like Eddie Murphy walks into a building, the soundtrack goes away, and it's just like, oh no, here we go. Axel's about to pop off. There's like 6 or 7 of these scenes where, you know, Axel goes into a situation and he has to talk himself out of. And I don't know, I thought that was just kind of funny. It's like the filmmakers know why we're showing up to watch this, and it's to watch Eddie Murphy, you know, use his Axel Foley superpower to talk himself in and out of situations. And I thought that was like really interesting. I would argue though that I think there's a little too many of these scenes. I think they probably could have just done 3 or 4 and made them like really strong. But I feel like these scenes, there's like 7 or 8 of these scenes, and it kind of gets tired after a while. But the one that got me to laugh the most was there's that moment where he walks into Billy's apartment and there's already people like, you know, scrummaging through his house, going through papers and making a mess of things. And he like walks into the situation like he's part of the team, and he's like, what's taking you guys so long? And he starts like rummaging through papers. That part was really funny. Like that was a good bit. And I think what prevents this movie from being, you know, from being great is that I think it's way too long. This movie's 2 hours long. They could have shaved 20 minutes off this thing. There's a lot of bloat to this movie, and you know, I did start to feel a length where I'm like, okay, I get it. Let's wrap things up here. This is way too long. This is way longer than it needs to be. Like there's a scene where Axel and Looper go to meet Louis Guzman in a karaoke bar, and I'm like, that whole scene could have just been cut out. I mean, I know they get information at the end, but they could have found another way to get information. Like that whole scene was just like, why? Or there's a couple chase scenes where I'm like, they could have cut that. Like there's a scene where he's escaping on a what do they call it? Like the parking meter cars, like a souped up fucking golf cart. I was like, all right, you could have cut that one out. I don't know. There's just a lot of bloat here. I think if they would have just made this a solid, you know, hour and a half, hour 35, maybe an hour 40, I think it would have been a much stronger, you know, as a whole. whole. But yeah, 2 hours, I don't know, man. And then the other thing is just like the story. I mean, it's okay. I mean, yeah, to be fair, we don't show up, for this movie to be enraptured by the story. We just want to see Axel Foley do his thing, and I totally get that. But he only does that, 7 or 8 times. You need something captivating in between those moments, and this was just kind of paint by the numbers, gotta get the bad guy stuff. They do try to incorporate that personal drama effect with him and his daughter. They're estranged, they're trying to work out their relationship throughout the movie, but I don't know, it didn't really suck me in, to be honest. And I don't know, I think the first one handled that close personal, effect to Axel way better than this movie. And they try with the daughter, but in the first movie we kind of get to spend time with Axel and his friend. We see where his friend's at. He's in a bad spot, and then Axel gets attacked and his friend gets murdered, and so he goes to Beverly Hills to get to get justice on the people who killed his friend that we just saw him hang out with. That was more like, that got me more involved into the story because it was like very personal, and I thought that I was gonna get that way here with the daughter, but it didn't really land with me. I almost wish they kind of like they made the bad guys like really bad. Like, if you're gonna come back and do this legacy sequel, you gotta have some sinister ass villains. Like, I probably would have killed Billy in the first 10 minutes, and then I probably would have had his daughter be attacked. Like, those two things were like, oh shit, like shit is getting real. Billy died, my daughter is getting attacked. Like, I need to solve this mystery. Like, that probably would have been a stronger that personal taste, that personal flavor that was missing from this movie, at least for me. I think that would have been a stronger opening of just killing Billy, attack the daughter. All right, let's get down to brass tacks here. Let's stop these guys. Yeah, and I don't know, the side characters that show up here are kind of underdeveloped. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is just kind of sleepwalking through this thing. He's just doing his Joseph Gordon-Levitt thing, whatever that is. Kevin Bacon is just Kevin Bacon. He's chewing up every scene he's in, but he's only in it for 6 or 7 scenes. He's not in it for very long. But this is the Axel Foley daughter movie, so those side characters didn't really do it for me, but hey, the core two is what's important. So yeah, I don't know. This movie made me laugh, and I know that probably doesn't mean much to you watching this, and because you don't really know me or quite my taste, but I will admit, comedy is probably my least favorite genre. I don't watch comedies that often because I find most of them to be not that funny. It takes a lot to get me to laugh because I don't know. I think I'm dead inside. I think something's broken. But this movie made me laugh, and I mean, to me, that's an accomplishment. Like, again, that moment where Eddie Murphy walks into Billy's apartment and starts rummaging through the papers and acting like he's part of the raid crew, God, that was hilarious. That was really funny. And there's a few moments in this movie that was really funny, like when he goes to the parking garage and the whole Jupiter ascending thing. Like, there's some really good bits in this movie that I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh, I'm laughing, I'm having a good time here. This is so surprising. I thought this movie was going to be complete dog shit, and I'm having a good time. It's nowhere near as good as the first two. I think it's definitely better than the third one. After I watched Axel F, I flipped on the first one, just kind of fast forward to the good parts, and yeah, the first one is still so good. It is so damn good. So yeah, I don't think this movie is as good as the original. I haven't seen Beverly Hills Cop 2 in a really long time, so I don't know if I can compare Axel F and Beverly Hills Cop 2. I'd have to rewatch that one again, but it's definitely the third best at the very least. And yeah, I'm kind of happy that it was good. I mean, Eddie Murphy was one of my favorites growing up. I loved Raw. I loved Delirious. I loved Raw and Delirious. Raw may be like my favorite stand-up movie ever. I've probably seen Raw more than any movie ever. I'm dead serious. I've seen Eddie Murphy's Raw probably over 20 times. So I love Eddie Murphy, and I was really happy that this was good. I mean, again, it's not the greatest thing in the world. I'm probably not going to rewatch this, but at least I was having a good time while I was watching it. And for that, well done. Well done. So yeah, did you see Axel F? Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Please let me know. I'd love to chit chat with you, and I will see you on the next one.